Yo, what's up? Quick message here. I'm currently in the midst of revamping my brand, so to speak. That includes my Twitch page, my YouTube, as also every other social media channel. For that purpose, I'm looking for a logo designer, an animator of sorts for an animated intro, possibly outro as well, and a digital artist. Most comic or anime art styles are fine, nothing too realistic. I know that everyone has a copy of Photoshop these days, but I'm looking for people who actually do this professionally. If you do happen to fit the description, please do send me an email with your portfolio and pricing. But only when you are immediately available. You can find my email through my YouTube page. I don't really want to do anything on a shoutout or description basis, I rather just pay people for their work. I hope to find someone quickly so I don't have to annoy you guys with this message over and over again, but thanks for listening, now enjoy the video. You know what skill decay is, right? That annoying, pesky thing that makes it so you have to play 7 matches a week or 1 match a day to keep your rating above diamond? Yeah, and you also remember what I initially said when they changed the decay system to require 7 rather than 1 game a week? To be honest, neither do I, but it was probably something along the lines of calling it an inconvenience. Well, as it turns out, I actually just so happen to think that decay is great now. But before we get into why that is, let's talk background. Because whether you will find liking in the decay system or not depends entirely on your situation, so I'd like to have you know what's up with me in particular before we go any further. So yeah, this is not as much of a uniform decay is amazing period, but more of a, if you look at it that way, decay is kinda neat. So our story starts about 1.5 months in the past. To make a long story short, Masters is not as much fun as most people below Masters think it is. We're dealing with a lot of bullshit in addition to the old problems from previous ratings not really going away, but that's another story for another day. Eventually, I have simply gotten frustrated. It wasn't so much that I got frustrated with not ranking up, but more about just not having a satisfying gameplay experience anymore. The matches were no longer fun, I kept losing elo for shit that wasn't my fault, and on top of that I was already at the top of my MMR. That means that in order to not get you into a rating that is too high for you, every loss takes away more SR than you get for any win. Which is not so much of a problem with the SR distribution itself, but the fact that I'd lose 30 points for a game that someone else decided to throw, and then I'd have a really sick match on my main really trying to pull my weight and get no more than 18 to 22 points. Again, it wasn't that I felt entitled to a higher rating, it's just that feeling of losing a lot of SR because of other people's stupidity while not feeling rewarded for my own performance whenever I do happen to do well. That ultimately made me stop wanting to play my main account, and thus I started putting more time into my ult. My ult account, as some of you watching my streams might know, was originally intended to be a practice account to see how I feel about new heroes that I can't play at Masters level, which would be the vast majority of heroes. Eventually, I decided I want to push myself to get better on my mains and try to play towards GM, hence you start seeing me play Zenyatta almost non-stop on that account. And of course that account would eventually run into the same MMR barrier as my main, at which point my main already decayed down to 3000. Now here begins the fun part. I was legitimately excited to play my main again, because here's the deal when it comes to SR decay. It effectively does not matter. Your MMR remains unchanged, you're still playing against the same people you otherwise would. And here's the kicker, the most fun part to me about ranked is always the season start, because you get a shit ton of SR for every single win and don't even lose all that much because the system places you a tad bit lower from where you belong. That's why ranking up my old account was also quite fun to me when I started taking it more seriously. So when I went back to my main account, I had an entirely different mindset from before. I wasn't that do or die tilted kind of player anymore. I could just shrug off my losses because they wouldn't take more than 8 to 20 SR away from me. Why would I care? Obviously, the Masters problems I referenced earlier did not go away. I was still dealing with the same kind of bullshit, but again, I just didn't have to care. If you get anywhere from 30 to 90 SR per win, there's no reason for you to get angry over someone else throwing a game that only costs you 8. So I actually decided to be brave and start practicing new heroes. I was not in a position anymore where I'd start off playing against diamond rank players to see if a hero fits me. I threw myself right into the 3.7k cold water and saw how I did. And surprisingly, I found myself having a lot of fun with D.Va and Roadhog, heroes that I previously didn't think would fit me at all. Fuck you again! I got 3k! I had all kinds of crazy and funny shit happen to me. Things that won, but also things that lost me games. I was winning though. No! Fuck! And again, the whole notion of it's not gonna cost me a lot anyway kept me reasonably sane and allowed me to just have fun with it. Or projectile thing. cunt. Fuck you, bitch. Now here's another thing, because there's obviously psychology that goes into it. Players in general just enjoy seeing their numbers rise, so having a game that grants you 90 points is like the best feeling to be had in Overwatch. And for anyone who is worried that it would take them a long time to get their elo back, even with losing a fair bunch, it just took me a good 3 sessions. Which is almost sad given how much I enjoyed these games versus the tilt fest that I had before when it came to losing 30 SR because of Hanzo smurfs. What I'm really trying to preach with this video is just don't let SR Decay demotivate you. Don't let it stop you from playing, but also don't let it force you to play. In the grand scheme of things, Decay does not matter, and if you look at it from a certain angle, you might even find liking in it. I guess if you're really keen on wanting to rank up, there's no way you're ever going to like Decay. But in that case, maybe it makes more sense to pay less attention to your SR as a number and focus more on polishing your skills and actually getting better. But this is me done for the day, so I talk about skill decay and how I ended up really liking it. If you enjoyed the video, do let me know by dropping me a like on your way out. Leave all of your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below, subscribe if you want to see more, and hope to see you all next time. Alright, I gotcha.
Heroes never die.
Hello, my name is Cliff and I'm feeding!